So, hello there everyone and welcome, it is Niran here, and today it is time for yet another FIFA 17 career mode experiment here on this channel. Today, we've got a very different one I suppose in terms of still what people are doing, but it was one that was very much requested from you guys. About 2 weeks ago I did a video asking what would happen if only young players were allowed to play in the English Premier League. So basically players who were 24 or below, only teams could only field those players, for example. And a lot of people were asking me in the comment section to do it with the Bundesliga. So today I'm going to be taking the exact same concept and shifting it across over to Germany, and we're going to be seeing how German teams do if they're forced to only use players of 24 years of age and below. If you go on to enjoy this video, then make sure to slap a like on it, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and let's get into a few of the rules that I need to sort of explain before we actually get into this experiment properly. So first of all, I'm going to explain the loan system as far as this experiment is concerned. So any teams that have players out on loan receive those players immediately for the experiment. They get those players back. So for example, Mainz have a player out on loan called Jose Rodriguez, who is out on loan to Malaga. Jose Rodriguez returns from Malaga to Mainz for this experiment. And that also applies to players who are on loan to other teams involved in the experiment. So for example, Kyriakos Papadopoulos is on loan from Bayer Leverkusen to Hamburg. He returns to Bayer Leverkusen for the experiment. However, in order to make this experiment even remotely possible, this doesn't work in the opposite direction. So for example, Andreas Christensen, who's on loan from Chelsea to a German Bundesliga side, in this case being Borussia Mönchengladbach, he does not return to Chelsea for the experiment, he stays with the club. Think about it logically, if this rule was imposed in the Bundesliga teams wouldn't suddenly be like, oh yeah, let's just send the players that we have on loan that are under the age of 24 back to the teams they came from. They would obviously try and keep hold of them. The second main rule I really need to sort of explain is a pretty simple one. If any of the teams don't have enough players to field, they are given or allocated really low rated players between the age of 16 and 24. Players of about the rating of 50 or 49 or maybe even below that, in order just to fill the numbers so that they have 18 squad members for the experiment. The aim is to make sure that these players then don't actually affect the experiment properly, because obviously they won't be good enough to really have any sort of influence on proceedings. The final thing we need to do before going into this experiment is take a look at the teams, and I really apologise because to make this video a normal length I've got to sort of skip through these quite quickly, but if you want to pause on each team then I really do implore you to do so, because quite a lot to see in the 6 seconds that they're each up on the screen. So far you've seen Augsburg, Bayern Munich, and now you're seeing Hertha Berlin in the background. Hertha Berlin have got a few decent players, the likes of Josh Brooks in defence. Same for Werder Bremen, they've obviously got like Grilic and Serge Gnabry who's doing very well, or Serge Gnabry even in real life. Augsburg are pretty average as well. What really surprised me though was Bayern Munich. They've got barely anyone apart from like the obvious players like Joshua Kimmich and Renato Sanchez, Kingsley Coman, David Alaba, but apart from those four, there's barely anyone. Borussia Dortmund obviously look pretty decent. Frankfurt actually look pretty good as well, the likes of Jesus Vallejo at the back. Hamburg have got Alan Halilovic and a few other players like Filip Kostic as well, the left midfielder. Hoffenheim look very good. Their defence is basically the same as it would usually be with the likes of Scher and Sula, and they've kept hold of the likes of Nadia Mamiri as well. Ingolstadt and Darmstadt, who you saw earlier, have really struggled. Same actually for FC Köln. All three of those have a few sort of 50 rated filler players in and around the starting 11, which is never good. Same for Bayern Munich actually, who have a 50 rated filler goalkeeper, which is going to really hinder them, I feel. Not entirely sure, they may even finish bottom. I have no idea where they're going to finish, you know, that's a complete mystery to me, or whether the prestige of the club will help them out. Bayer Leverkusen look very good, Borussia Mönchengladbach look very good, RB Leipzig obviously have barely changed, likes of Forsberg, Keita, Sabitzer, Werner, all still in the side. Schalke as well here, Brelem, Bolo, Goretzka, Johannes Geis, Max Meyer, Kolasinac, a lot of young players staying in that side. Freiburg have done well, very well-rounded side, and then finally Wolfsburg here in the background. But now it is time to get into this experiment properly. So here we are then at the start of the tournament. The Under-24 Bundesliga is about to get underway, or the Bundesliga Jung, as I'm guessing it would probably be called if it was to happen in real life. But regardless of that, we're going to get into things. You'll have seen the squads in the background as I was doing the intro and explaining the rules to this sort of experiment that we've got going on here today. And it would be great if you could leave your sort of suggestions or your predictions for what's actually going to happen in this experiment. Who's going to win and maybe who's going to come bottom of the table overall. So if you could pause the video at this point and then leave your predictions for who's going to win and for who's going to come bottom in the comment section, that would be absolutely awesome, because there's a big wide range of quality within this tournament in terms of teams that are good and in terms of teams that aren't so good. Here of course are the 18 teams in the background. We're going to sim through the calendar to the end of the tournament. You can see all the games here are sort of like twice a week in this tournament format. We're going to sim to the end of the tournament. We're going to take a look at who's won it at the end of it, and we'll also take a look at sort of, you know, the top scorers and stuff. But this is going to be a difficult one. This is a very difficult one to predict, much like the English one. The one thing I'm really looking forward to, though, is seeing where Bayern Munich finish, because for a titan of world football, the youngsters that they're putting forward for this under-24 tournament are very, very weak, with the exception to the likes of David Alaba and obviously Renato Sanchez. But apart from those little gems, there's not much there at all. Time to check out the results then of this under-24 Bundesliga season. Now this is an interesting one. This is probably the coolest experiment we've done so far in terms of the results, because it's all over the flipping show in terms of what you would expect from real life and what I expected beforehand. You guys will have left your predictions in the comment section, and my word, if any of you got them right, then props to you, because that is a top effort. In the end, the team that has won the Under-24 Bundesliga is Wolfsburg. A good team, I'll admit. They had some good players, but they weren't the best team as far as I was concerned. From looking at the squads and from building them myself, I would have said that Bayer Leverkusen and Schalke were probably the most likely to win this tournament, with Wolfsburg likely to finish at least in the top 5, but not the best goal difference in the league. That went to Bayer Leverkusen, actually. The main thing for them is they drew too many games. They drew 9 games, which was quite a lot as far as the rest of the league is concerned. So they came second. Props to SC Freiburg as well. Again, I think a lot of you will have been able to look at that team and been like, okay, they haven't lost many of their first team players. They look as if they're going to do very well. And they were only 5 points off winning this entire thing. Köln in 4th is a massive surprise, because they didn't have many players at all. I think they had to have quite a few 50 rated players as fillers, and they lost the likes of Anthony Modeste as well. I'm guessing Timo Horn, who I think was the second best goalkeeper in this entire tournament, had a big part to play. Schalke only finished 5th and were 15 points off the eventual winners, Wolfsburg. Another decent team as far as the squads were concerned was Mainz. They did very well, as sort of, I suppose you could maybe see coming. RB Leipzig and Hoffenheim, I expected them to do better, especially RB Leipzig. They lost about 2 first-team players in this whole thing. They obviously kept the likes of Timo Werner, Yusuf Poulsen, Naby Keita. Dortmund, Borussia Dortmund, all the way down in 11th place, only 40 points. A team known for having ridiculously good young players, and that's been the case forever. Only 11th in this entire tournament, and a team that you probably would have expected to win this entire thing, so that's crazy. The worst team out of all of them is Darmstadt, and they've managed to beat 4 others. They've managed to come 14th. Ingolstadt were similarly horrendous. They've managed to come 15th. I feel like I'm going through this in so much depth, because it's literally every single team has a story. Borussia Mönchengladbach, 16th. They had so many good players. 17th for Hertha Berlin, and a shocking goal difference. But the biggest story of all, the best team in Germany for however many years, a titan of world football, one of almost the biggest team in the entirety of Europe, Bayern Munich. If the Bundesliga was reduced down to under 24 players, Bayern Munich would finish bottom. 18th out of 18 with only 12 points and 2 wins to their name. That is outrageous, absolutely outrageous. Bayern Munich, one of the biggest clubs in the world, stone last, and by a distance as well, under half the points of the team that finished above them. This probably has been one of the most incredible experiments in terms of results that you'll see in a while. So now it's going to be even more intriguing to see all of the player stats as well, and see how all the players actually fared across the season. Top scorers wise, there's not much of a surprise in terms of the man who was at the top of that. I'm guessing, you know, a lot of people people maybe will have seen that a high-profile striker was going to take it, and Kevin Volland probably fits that bill as far as under 24 Bundesliga players are concerned. 22 goals for him for Leverkusen. Jairo, the Spanish winger, I think, from Mainz, 19 goals for him. Very good season for him. Yusuf Paulsen of RB Leipzig getting 17 goals. The rest of the top 10 is then made up of Leonardo Bittencourt, Breel Donald Mbolo, Wood, I can't remember what his first name is, the American striker from Hamburg, or he's got American heritage, something like that. Julian Brandt from Bayer Leverkusen, adding another 13 for Bayer Leverkusen to the 22 that Volland got. We've got Alan Halilovic, Ousmane Dembele, and Leon Goretzka as well, rounding out the top 10. Nadia Mamiri and Özcan as well for Köln, sorry, getting 12 goals. And then rounding out the rest of the 25, we've got Usami, Philip Nielsen, or Havard Nielsen, I think that is, Josip Dermic, Paul-Georges Ntep, Torgan Hazard, Cordoba from Mainz, Yannick Gerhardt, Meffert from Freiburg, Joe Linton, Borja Mayoral, Leon Bailey from Leverkusen, and also Ty as well from Werder Bremen with 9 goals. Looking at the assists and Kevin Volland, this is okay. Now this is a result that we can take from these experiments now, because this is becoming a very much recurring theme, is that whoever gets the most amount of goals is usually very high up on the assists as well. Kevin Volland is top of both, 22 goals, 11 assists. Cholak as well, the striker from Hoffenheim, got 10 assists. Deme, I can't remember how you pronounce his name, from Leipzig, got 9 to his name as well. Leonardo Bittencourt, Max Meyer, Alan Halilovic, Breel Mbolo, and Özcan getting 8 as well. And the rest of the 15, well, top 15 is Rebic, Yusuf Paulsen, Cordoba again, Andre Duda from Hertha Berlin, Yachenko from Bayer Leverkusen, Alexander Isak from Borussia Dortmund, and Mali. And then finally, the clean sheets. Kern Casteels, 14 clean sheets for him from Wolfsburg, which of course I'm guessing went a long way towards them winning the title, so good amount of clean sheets for him. Bernd Leno as well getting 13 for Leverkusen, as well as Schwolo from Freiburg getting 13 to his name. Timo Horn for Köln getting 10, then Matania from Hamburg, Wellenreuter, Schwaber, Gelios, Bonman, and Müller from Leipzig as well. Bayern are the only team that had to have a filler goalkeeper. I don't think they actually had a main goalkeeper, so they had to have a filler one who was 50 rated, which probably goes a long way to saying why they did so badly and why he only got 1 clean sheet across the season. So, where to even begin as far as that experiment is concerned? Absolutely everything. I don't think I've ever seen something that surprised me that much personally. I'd love to know what your thoughts were on this as well in the comment section, but so many different stories. Köln with a pretty poor side, apart from Timo Horn and maybe Leonardo Bittencourt, still doing a really good job and getting in the top 4 and what would be a Champions League spot, I think. I think that's a Champions League spot, I'm not entirely sure, but they got into the top 4 anyway, regardless. And then the underachievements of Borussia Dortmund and Borussia Mönchengladbach especially, and the fact that Schalke and RB Leipzig and Hoffenheim also didn't really get involved in the title fight as well, but the fact that the underdogs, Darmstadt and Ingolstadt, who had by far the worst sides, really, in this tournament, managing to do the great escape, they wouldn't have got relegated in real life. But more importantly, FC Bayern Munich. But even Kingsley Coman, David Alaba, and Renato Sanchez couldn't really, triple-handedly, I suppose, as far as that phrase is concerned, guide them to, to anywhere apart from the bottom of the table, because the rest of the side was just so plain bad. So if Rummenigge is watching this, or if the Bayern heads are watching this video, then you need to invest in some youngsters, boys, because it's spiraling out of control as far as FIFA 17 experiments are concerned. Nevertheless, I hope you've enjoyed this FIFA 17 career mode experiment, or tournament mode experiment, I suppose, in this instant. It's been very shocking, so I'm sure you will have done. Subscribe if you are new to the channel, and comment about enjoying the video if you enjoyed it that much. You can also follow me on Twitter as well. The handle will be at the bottom of the screen, and links will be in the description if you want to follow my day-to-day life. It is at the official FNG for those interested. But it has been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a great day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.
Come to the vape looking like gold medal this with Kurt Angle boots on. And I don't wear the boot on, but they got normal shoes on. You're the like yo with the shoe from. Get them to the yo Uncle Jar. I ain't got a flex on no one, I'm the original Don. Come to the vape looking like gold medal this with Kurt Angle boots on. And I don't wear the boot